Y'all, it's been a while since I have read a book that fades to black. It's been a while, and I was mad. I was annoyed in the way that I am with Fade to Black. In general, when you talk about the lead up and then you have a post-mortem afterwards, but nothing happens in the middle. It's like, oh, and then we fell upon the bed. And the next morning, I can't believe I did hand stuff. Well, I want to see those moments because, yeah, they're sexy, but also those are the moments of connection where you're intimate with each other. And the postmortems are usually like, wow, I'm in my own thoughts and not a conversation with the partner. The book is If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzales and Cale Dietrich. No idea if I'm saying either of those names correctly. It is a new adult fade to black by awakening pop star romance. Honestly, this has a lot going for it. If you don't mind the fade to black, if you don't mind 18, 19-year-old feelings, this is going to be like absolutely up our alley. I enjoyed this book a lot. This was a very fun read. And y'all are going to make me change my feelings about a guy named Ruben. First the Princess Trap, and now this. You have Ruben and you have Zach, and they are both part of this boy band called Saturday. They are part of this band called Saturday, and they're on tour. Ruben is openly gay to his friends, the band, but not publicly, and I'll get back to that in a second. Zach presumes he's straight, and as we go into the story, we watch as Zach goes, oh, I guess I'm not. All those things that I kind of shut down were my true feelings and my true sexuality, and he is bi as he identifies and comes to understand himself, and he and Ruben start to date. It is adorable. They're adorable. So many cute feelings about the two of them together. There's a bigger plot around their coming out in the management company that oversees this group, really trying to force not just Ruben and Zach, but all four of the boys, they're 18, 19. One of them turns 18, he's 17 when the book starts. I can say boys. The boys in this group, and telling them who they need to be when they're facing the world. And none of them enjoy the niche that they've been forced into. None of them feel like that niche is truly them. And the more they continue to lie to the public, the more they rebel against those things. And so the story isn't just Ruben and Zach getting together and fighting to come out and live their truth publicly as members of this group and as boyfriends to each other, but also they're two good friends fighting against the narrative that the management group has made for them. This book did diversity really well. I know that Ruben and Zach are white, our main couple, but they are surrounded by a diverse community, and I appreciate that. I always appreciate when, just because it's a white couple, you don't live in a white bubble. The world is diverse, and I want to encourage more authors to put diverse characters, even if you're writing a white couple, but put them in a world with diversity, because that is important. And oh my gosh, that's a totally different video. It's fade to black, but we do watch them progress in their intimacy as a couple, and they have conversations off the page, which I think also really annoyed me. We're like, oh yeah, that time that we talked about PrEP. Why can't we see you talk about PrEP? Why can't we see you acknowledge the fact that within the queer community, AIDS and HIV is still a really big thing, and you have to think about it, and you want to think about it, and you want to protect yourself? So those are conversations I wish I'd seen, because those are conversations that maybe a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old queer human who reads this book might need more guidance in having, and seeing that on the page would be really supportive and helpful for that person. So in general, love the book. It is fade to black. It is new adult. So take that with a grain of salt if you're looking for some spice. This is not it. If you're looking for an adorable, by awakening pop star romance, this is it. All right, I have really been working on my listening for context skills when it comes to audiobooks, and here is the first one that I really feel like I've got a good handle on. It is Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh, and she has a huge back catalog. This is the one that appealed to me and I found on audiobook, so I grabbed it. I didn't read the plot. I never read the plot. I never read the synopsis. It never happens. I'm always pleasantly surprised. Sometimes not pleasantly, but this time it was pleasantly surprised. Because with Angel's Blood, you think, oh, cool, angels. This is going to have some weird mythology around it. Nope, not at all. It is totally separate from religion, and in a way that I found fascinating and kind of freeing. And angels create vampires. You know how I feel about a vampire. So this was a different mythology around vampires. I was all for this. All for it. And it's a long series. This is the beginning of a very long series. Because of that, this book takes place before the smartphones of today, which I get a kick out of, because so many things can be solved by smartphones, and they're great. They're wonderful, wonderful things. But there is a drama when you can't just look it up on your computer or on your pocket computer, on your phone, when you have to do a little bit more legwork, when it takes more to connect with someone else. You have Elena and Raphael, FMC, MMC, and Elena is what is called a natural born hunter. She is born with these abilities that allow her to hunt vampires. She's stronger. She has this great sense of smell. She can sense vampires and their age around her. And then you have Raphael, who's the Archangel of New York, and he hires her to hunt what she thinks is a vampire and is actually a rogue angel. And y'all, the mythology of this paranormal book was so great. It was so great. I love a paranormal because it does take place in New York City, which means it's our world, so that's paranormal versus fantasy. But the way that all of these creatures interact, it's chef's kiss. I have never read anything like it, and there are 15 books in the series. I'm kind of like, do I just put them in? I'll think about it. Audiobook format was really good. I will say the audiobook narrator, it is one female narrator, and I really jived with that because I didn't have the back and forth of, oh, the male narrator's voice doesn't match up with the female narrator doing his voice. So with that one narrator, that really helped me stay in it and judge less the performance. I thought it was great. They have a really strong connection. Apparently, as a hunter, you can be a little bit more susceptible to vampire sensuality, but she and Raphael are just drawn to one another. And there's this fascinating back and forth of will they, won't they? He's got all of this power. She wants to say no. She doesn't say no. Yeah, with paranormal, I can suspend my disbelief in a way that I cannot with real humans. I'm like, wow. The magical powers of this universe make him almost irresistible to you. Even though you want to say no, your body's saying yes. I totally believe it and support all of it. I don't know. But I would never support that with a human. Like, oh, your body's saying yes and your mind is saying no. Leave her alone. Like, I don't know why when it comes to paranormal, it is totally fine with me. In terms of the intimacy, while it does exist, they're not terribly long scenes. It doesn't feel like a drawn out sensual moment. They're fun. They're a lot of fun. There are wings involved and angel dust and all sorts of fun things. But it was a really enjoyable book, and I do want to start talking more about the audiobooks that I read, because I feel I want to read more for context and not just have them in the background. So here we go. This is my first one of an audiobook. It's Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh, and I loved it. I bought this book because it's pink. I love it. It's pink all the way around. I don't love it when there's like a beautiful pink cover and a boring spine, because then all you see is the boring spine. Anyway. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's fake. It's So Say You'll Be Mine by Naina Kumar. If I am saying that name incorrectly, please let me know in the comments, write it phonetically. I want to do this author justice because this was an adorable book. Okay, you've got fake datings, it's fake engagement, and one bed, and this wonderful will they, won't they. There's a lot of awkward and there's a lot of miscommunication that happens whenever you've got one of those fake dating situations, whenever you've got two people who are falling for the other and they're not supposed to, and so they have big feelings about it, but they can't communicate those feelings because they've promised the other person they're not gonna. It's the challenge of the trope. I love a fake dating, and I get frustrated by the way that it always means there's going to be miscommunication or hidden feelings and basically lying. So do you like me? What do you want? Well, obviously I'm just gonna go with what we agreed on in the first place because I don't have feelings for you. I would never. That's so rude. And I just want to scream at them. You both have feelings for each other. Isn't it obvious? Don't you want this? So that's a part of the trope, and I accept that. But there is one bed. I always love a one bed. Oh, who doesn't root for a one bed situation? If you don't, put it in the comments. Tell me why. I need to know why you don't love a one bed trope, because I always love a one bed trope. There is a previous relationship. She's brokenhearted over her ex-boyfriend from college getting married. His mother is, oh, I'm sorry, have I said their names? Meghna and Karthik. Again, who knows? I've only read these words. And if I'm saying them incorrectly, you know what? They're correct in my soul. But actually do tell me if I'm saying them wrong. So you've got Meghna and Karthik, and they get set up by their parents. He is in New York and she is in Texas. And the only way that I didn't feel weird about that is because I've seen Indian Matchmaker. And I'm like, okay, I guess people really do get set up from states away. But they get set up. They kind of decide it's not going to happen, but he's totally fascinated by her. And she's like, man, he was like hot, but a dick. But because his mom is so gung-ho about him getting married, Karthik basically lies to his dad and said he's going to propose to Meghna. Meghna's the best man in her ex from college's wedding. She's heartbroken, and she decides, you know what, a fiance at my ex's wedding sounds like a great idea. So they've got this fake engagement going, and they go back and forth to visit each other, to confide in each other, to support each other over the course of the months of their engagement, and they fall for each other. This is a level 1 spice book. It is. It's a level, I'm gonna call it 1, it's really a 0.5, but don't feel like cutting a chili pepper in half. So if you're looking for spice, this is not it. If you're looking for an adorable relationship, you're gonna find it here. It is a long, I don't want to say it's a longer book, but it feels like they fall really fast and then it takes a long time for them to figure it out together. So their process of becoming a couple felt really long. Yeah, Karthik has this moment where he messes up an interview and is questioning his life choices and gets on a plane and flies to Dallas really quickly. It was so awkward, I had to put the book down for a day, but that was the moment for me. I'm like, oh, y'all are a couple. You don't realize this, but y'all are a couple. And that happened maybe before the, let me find, because I annotated this and I wrote it down. Like, y'all, this was so awkward that I had to pause it. Yeah, here. Not even 50% of the way through this book. So not even 50% of the way through this book, we had a moment and I went, oh no, and I had to put it down. To be fair, they get through it very quickly and they continue on to plenty of other awkward social weird moments, like the one bed, like meeting parents, like all of the things that go along with a fake fiance situation. So if you're a lover of the fake dating, fake fiance situation, absolutely read this book. If you're someone who's looking to add more API stories, specifically Indian, add this in and enjoy the pink cover. All right, even though I'm in a different outfit, we're still in the previous week, and that is because remember when my mic died and I didn't realize it, and so the sound quality was terrible. It happened in the middle of my video for Philip's Rules by Golden Angel, and so I got a couple minutes into the video, the sound completely cut out. So here we go. Again, Philip's Rules by Golden Angel. Now, Golden Angel writes under another name, Sinistra Ang, and that is a name that you have heard from me because it's the author of his favorite Hu Cow. And I will not lie, I was expecting his favorite Hu Cow level energy, steam, spice, smut, and that's not the case with Philip's Rules. Now, don't get me wrong, it is part of the Bridal Disciplines series, which should tell you everything that you need to know about what I'm about to say. If that's not for you, just hit the fast forward, because this book was a lot of fun. I was waiting for more crazy, and I am glad that I didn't get it. Okay, this is serious. You have Cordelia and Philip, FMC, MMC. And while Cordelia is a widow, there's a lot in this book that feels like the deflowerings of a virgin, even though technically she's not one. She remarries Philip, and she comes with a really bitchy stepdaughter. Now, the disciplines part of this is set up really, really well. Hi, Mike. She meets all of these other women in Philip's social circle, the wives and sisters of him and his friends and stuff, and they all talk about the spankings and the good kind of spanking and the bad kind of spanking. And so it's set up really well. You know what's going to happen, you know what's coming. So it isn't a surprise when there is the good kind of spanking and the bad kind of spanking, the discipline aspect of it. What I loved about this book, what I think was done super well, was how kink was used to form a deeper connection between Cordelia and Philip. And that's really what kink is about. It's about connecting with your partner in kink. And this discipline, even the bad kind of spanking, it was done in service of making their relationship stronger. You don't believe me? Just go read it. And also, we do not kink shame here. So if this is not your kink, that's fine. Don't read this book. Don't practice it in your life. But we will not kink shame here at Chase Reads Romance. So we have this cultural expectation amongst this group of friends that there is going to be discipline, and their relationship is challenging. They have to figure it out. This stepdaughter is such a bitch, and she causes a lot of problems for Philip and Cordelia, and they have to navigate this relationship, especially because now she's a stepdaughter. The stepdaughter's mom is dead, the stepdaughter's dad is dead. They're all that she has. So everything is done in service of these two, and it does set up the stepdaughter in a later book. It's a whole series of bridal discipline. So if you're looking for a book that has an element of kink, even if it's not your personal kink, but that does a great job of showing how kink can be used for connection and how kink is used for connection and building understanding and building a relationship, Philip's Rules might be a really good start for you, because, to be fair, I consider this not terribly out there in terms of kink, but for some of y'all, this might be the kinkiest thing you've ever read. And I feel like this was a very accessible introduction to kink and how it can play in a romance novel. So thank you, Golden Angel.